The World Between Wars, 1900 to 1950, Part 2, Nana. This is your new lesson. Russian Socialistic Revolution. Tsarist Russian was a vast landmass which was spread over in two continents and making it as a Eurasian power. It was comprised of several nations. Among them were Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenia, and it had the largest population of 156 million people and was the third largest population in the world after China and India. In the Tsarist Russia, Russians derived their livelihood from agriculture, and control over lands was the basic cause for the struggle between peasants and feudal lords. Tsarist Russia, people were dependent upon agriculture. Amma. These people were dependent upon agriculture for their income. But most of the land was under the control of feudal lords. Feudal lords, ante zamindars. Okay? And this became the basic reason for the revolution. And the feudal lords owned most of the lands, and most of the peasants used to pay rent for the land they tilled. So whatever rent these people used to till the land. So for that kaul laga kattevallu, kauldar laga, they used to pay rent. But most of the land was in the control of feudal lords. Tsar Nicholas II. Tsar Nicholas II ruled over his vast Russian empire like an autocrat with the help of his army and bureaucracy. Autocrat ante just like a dictator. And his decision to participate in the World War led to extreme loss of economy for Russia. Before World War I, Russia had the biggest army, but by 1917, Russia lost almost 2 million soldiers and became the biggest loser of human lives in World War I. So you can see the images, Nana. Tsar Nicholas II decided to participate in World War I, and his decision brought heavy economical loss to the country also. Okay, so and equally along with the economical loss, even human loss was more. The diversion of food to the war front led to shortages in city. All the food which was produced in the country was sent to the place of the wars so that the soldiers could be fed. And because of that, what happened? Obviously, shortage occurred in the city where the people were residing. So, this is the biggest procession happened on March 8th, 1917, where around 10,000 women of the capital, St. Petersburg, took a procession demanding peace and bread. All these people, the women came onto the streets because there was shortage of food. There was shortage of the food. And at the capital city, Petersburg, capital city called Petersburg, all these women took out a procession on March 8, 1917. Even workers, soldiers also participated in this protest. And in just 2 days, the situation went so much out of the hand that the Tsar was abdicated and non aristocratic Russians made a provisional government. They made a provisional government. Ante the Tsar was completely removed from the power. He was abdicated and aristocratic Russians made a provisional government. This was the first Russian Revolution of 1917, and this was also called as March Revolution. This was the first Russian Revolution of 1917, and this was also called as the March Revolution. These are the aristocrats who formed the provisional government. And actually, this government is also called as the shortest lifespan on a government because it didn't long last. It again, it was brought down to power in a very few days. Okay, so they call it as the shortest period of governance. షార్టెస్ట్ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఇది. మార్చ్ 1917లో ప్రొవిజనల్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఫామ్ అయితే October 1917, another biggest revolution came out. A bigger revolution was made later in October 1917. But this was not a spontaneous revolution. This was not a spontaneous revolution. The liberals and the aristocrats who ruled Russia after the abdication of Tsar decided to continue their participation in World War I to preserve the honor of the fatherland. So, as I told you, the provisional government did not last into power for too long. The reason behind that was their decision to participate in the World War. Actually, why did they bring the Tsar down? They brought the Tsar down because they felt that the Tsar was wrong in participating in the World War One. And the same mistake again, the provisional government also took the decision because they wanted to maintain and preserve the honor of their fatherland, of the fatherland. See, there in those days, they never said motherland, they said fatherland. Okay. So, the liberals and aristocrats who ruled Russia after the abdication of Tsar decided to continue participation in the World War One and to preserve the honor of the fatherland. These people have taken the decision, and people were fatigued by the military reverses and upset about the economic shortages. Ipudu, when we have a war in a country, Nana, the country is being affected directly or indirectly in many ways. Directly, we can say economically and human life, and indirectly, we can say pollution or deaths or anything. Means never a war gives you good results. Never a war gives you good results. So these people, they never wanted to continue the war, and they began to organize themselves in councils which were called as soviets. And these councils consist of soldiers, industrial workers, people in the rural areas, and these people were called bolsheviks. They were called bolsheviks, and they themselves represented as a group of Russian Communist Party under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin. Under the leadership of Lenin. So he is Mr. Lenin. He is Mr. Lenin. And this is October 1917 revolution picture, Nana. Okay. So Maldi provisional government, when they decided to participate in the war, the people were not interested in the war and they wanted something to change. So they formed out into small councils called Soviets, and all these Soviets together formed a party, Russian Communist Party, under the leadership of Lenin. Now, the Bolsheviks The Bolsheviks were able to win the confidence of Soviets because they took up the demand for immediate and unconditional peace. See, there that time the people never wanted war. And these people's agenda was first thing that unconditional peace. We are not going to participate in the war. Okay? And this is the reason why the Bolsheviks were able to win the confidence of the Soviets. And because they took up the demand for immediate and unconditional peace and nationalization of all lands and its distribution to the peasants. Nationalization of all lands and its redistribution to the peasants. అంటే ఆ కంట్రీలో ఉన్న ల్యాండ్స్ అన్ని ఫ్యూడల్ లార్డ్స్ కింద ఉన్న ల్యాండ్స్ కూడా జప్తు చేసేసుకొని దే హ్యావ్ డిసైడెడ్ టు డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ దట్ ల్యాండ్ టు ద peasants and nationalization of all factories and banks and control over the prices. The Soviets under the Bolshevik leadership seized the power from provincial government on October 1917. అంటే మార్చ్లో ఫామ్ అయిన గవర్నమెంట్, మార్చ్ అంటే సెప్టెంబర్, మార్చ్ ఏప్రిల్, మే, జూన్, జూలై, ఆగస్ట్, సెప్టెంబర్. Within 7 months, the government had to come down, and they immediately took the steps to end the war and redistribute the land. So Bolsheviks immediately they took their leg behind the war, and they stopped the war. They stopped the participation of war, and they started to redistribute the land. But they could not retain peace. Bolsheviks could not retain peace, Nana. Okay. There was a civil war which was started by the white armies of Russian monarchies and anti communist soldiers with the help of Britain, France, and USA and Japan. But all these forces were defeated by 1920. Ante all the armies of Russian monarchies, feudal lords ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, they were against the nationalization of land. So What they did, they took the help of Britain and France, USA and Japan, and they had a civil war. But the Bolsheviks, the Bolsheviks won this war. And but all these factors, all these forces, that is the Russian monarchies and Britain, France, USA and Japan, were defeated by 1920, and the Bolsheviks also ended the Russian Empire and permitted all the nations under the Russian Empire to become independent. I told you, the Russian Empire consisted of various nations, Turkomania, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Russia, etc. ఇలా కొన్ని దేశాలన్నీ కలిపి ఒక రష్యన్ ఎంపైర్ గా ఫామ్ అయినప్పుడు in 1920 the Bolsheviks announced them that they can be ఇండిపెండెంట్, అంటే ఏ ఏ కంట్రీకి ఆ కంట్రీ మీరు ఇండిపెండెంట్ గా మీరు ఇంకా బతకచ్చు. నవ్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ అండర్ ఎనీ force, any monarchical force. However, gradually most of these former nation people agreed to join USSR. So all those different countries which were a part of Russian Empire, instead of becoming independent, they all decided to join USSR, that is Union of Soviet of Socialist Republic, which was set up in 1924 under the leadership of Lenin. So because of civil war, what happened? The white armies of Russian monarchies were defeated. The white armies of Russian monarchy had the support of Britain, France, USA and Japan, but they were defeated by the Bolsheviks. And when the Bolsheviks have defeated them, they have even announced the ending of the Russian Empire and permitted all the nations under the Russian Empire to become independent. But these people, they agreed to join USSR, which formed Union of Soviet of Socialist Republic in the year 1924 under the leadership of Lenin. Under the leadership of Lenin. Now, here you can see few images, Amma, during the war, how these people were being treated and how the armies were fighting. And these are the, this is an image of the various consequences that took place after the war. Now, rise of Stalin. He is Mr. Stalin. After the death of Lenin in 1924, now USSR was formed under the leadership of Lenin Nana. So after the death of Lenin in 1924, Stalin emerged as the leader of the Communist Party, and he began a program of planned economic developments with 5 years plan in 1928. ఇప్పుడు మనకు కూడా 5-year plan అని ఒకటి ఉంటుంది మన గవర్నమెంట్ లో కూడా. ఇప్పుడు లేదు, ఆఫ్టర్ మోడీ కేమ్ హీ క్లోజ్డ్ ఇట్ అవుట్, బట్ బిఫోర్ నెహ్రూ అండ్ ఆల్ they also implemented a 5-year plan. In 5 years, what are the areas a country should be developed and how it should be developed? It is being pre-planned, and according to that plan, they would start their work. So, after the death of Lenin in 1924, Stalin emerged as a leader of the Communist Party, and he began a program of planned economic developments with its 5 years plan in 1928, Nana. This pursued a twin policy of rapid industrialization and cultivation of agriculture. Means industrialization to be utilized in the field of agriculture, and cultivation of agriculture should be improvised. He tried to end small peasant production and introduced collective farming. Under this, farmers worked together and the produce was divided among the members of the farms. అంటే 10 మంది రైతులు ఎవరి పొలాల్లో వాళ్ళు వ్యవసాయం చేయకుండా 10 మంది కలిసి 10 మంది పొలంని కలిపేసి ఒక పొలం కింద తీసుకొని దాంట్లో 10 మంది కలిసి వ్యవసాయం చేసి వచ్చిన ఉత్పత్తిని అందరూ పంచుకునేటట్టు. He introduced collective farming. The idea was to shift from small holding farming to large scale farming so that new techniques and machines would be used. Now, ఎవరి పొలంలో వాళ్ళు చిన్న చిన్నగా పని చేసుకోవటం అంటే వాళ్ళు చేసుకుంటారు నాన్న. ఎవరి పొలంలో నష్టం వస్తే ఆయన ఒక్కడే భరిస్తాడు. కానీ కలెక్టివ్ ఫార్మింగ్లో ఏమవుతుంది? అందరు కలిసికట్టి పనిచేస్తారు. నష్టం వచ్చినా అందరు కలిసి పంచుకుంటారు, లాభం వచ్చినా అందరు కలిసి పంచుకుంటారు. అండ్ పెట్టుబడి కూడా అందరు కలిసి పెట్టుబడి పెట్టినప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఎక్కువ పెట్టుబడి వచ్చే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఒక వ్యక్తి పెట్టుబడికి ఒక కెపాసిటీ ఉంటుంది, కానీ 10 మంది కలిపినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? 10,000 పెట్టుబడి కాస్త 1,00,000 పెట్టుబడి అవుతుంది 10 మంది రైతులు కలిసినప్పుడు. 1,00,000 పెట్టుబడితో ఒక మెషిన్ కొనొచ్చు, ఇంకా ఎక్కువ ధాన్యం కొనొచ్చు, ఎక్కువ విత్తనాలు కొనొచ్చు, ఎక్కువగా వ్యవసాయం చేయొచ్చు. ఎక్కువగా వ్యవసాయం చేసినప్పుడు ఎక్కువ ఉత్పత్తి రావచ్చు. ఎక్కువ ఉత్పత్తి వచ్చినప్పుడు అందరూ ఎక్కువగా లాభం పొందొచ్చు. సో దట్ వాజ్ ద రీజన్ వై హీ వాంటెడ్ టు షిఫ్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ స్మాల్ ల్యాండ్ హోల్డింగ్ farming to large scale farming. Thousands of peasants, especially large farmers, resisted this. అంటే people who had huge amounts of land. ఇప్పుడు నా దగ్గర 10 ఎకరాల పొలం ఉందన్న, నా 10 ఎకరాల పొలం 1 ఎకరం పొలం రైతుతో నేను కలవటానికి ఇష్టపడను. ఎందుకంటే అప్పుడు ఆ రైతుకు 1 ఎకరం పొలమే ఉంది, నేను 10 ఎకరాలు ఇస్తున్నాను, 11 ఎకరాలు అవుతుంది. 11 ఎకరాల ఉత్పత్తిని మేమిద్దరం పంచుకుంటాం. సో ఫర్ దట్ large farmers were against this policy of collective farming, and నేను దాన్ని వ్యతిరేకిస్తే I would have been imprisoned, and even I would have been sent away from the country, or I would have even been killed. So this was the policy of Stalin. What Stalin said, land is for everyone. Everyone must share the land and everyone must work on the land. So that was the policy of Stalin. So thousands of peasants, especially large farmers, resisted this, Nana. They didn't like the policy of collective farming. And because of this, what happened? Many of the farmers did not join this collective farming scenario. Or even though they joined, they did not work towards cultivation. That means, ఏముంది ఇంకా వ్యవసాయం చేసినా ఏముంది, వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చే కాడికి నేను ఎందుకు కష్టపడాలి అని చెప్పి వదిలేశారు. వదిలేసినప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే సివియర్ ఫ్యామిన్ కేమ్ డౌన్ in the year 1929 to 30, leading to the death of very large number of people. Leading to the death of very large number of people. When did it cause, Nana? In 1929 to 1930. Why did it cause? Because most of the peasants were against the policy of collective farming, and they were not interested to give their lands or share their lands with the small landowners or small peasants. This is Stalin with Lenin. And this is Stalin's photo when he was celebrating his 70th birthday, Nana. And these are the images during this Soviet famine, which happened in the period of 1929 to 1930. And these are few paper reports. People died severely. Many people died, Nana. And after an initial period of decline, agriculture production soon rose and helped USSR to also build its industries on an unprecedented scale. All the industries were owned by the state, which did not allow free and sold the industrial products to the consumers directly. And rapid construction led to poor working conditions. In the city Magnitogorsk, the construction of a steel plant was achieved in 3 years. Workers lived hard lives, and the result was 550 stoppages of work in the first year alone. In living quarters in winter, yet 40 degrees below, people had to climb down 4th floor and dash across the street in order to go to even a toilet. Okay, famine came, and agriculture, okay, people decided, okay, because of this famine nothing is going to happen, none of us are going to come up in life, so it's better we start our agriculture. And initially, after few years, the agriculture production developed. And when this agriculture production developed, it helped USSR to build its industries and on unprecedented scale. All the industries in the country were owned by the government. No private capitalist can have any factory. Only the government used to run the factory, and they only used to sell the products directly to the customers. So ప్రొడక్షన్ కాస్ట్ ఎంతైతే అయిందో అంత గవర్నమెంట్కి కావాల్సిన మార్జినల్ ప్రాఫిట్ని వాళ్ళు పెట్టుకొని పీపుల్కి ఎట్ ఏ అవైలబుల్ ప్రైజెస్ మీద వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళు. బట్ ర్యాపిడ్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ లెడ్ టు పూర్ వర్కింగ్ కండిషన్స్ అమ్మ. అంటే కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ వాజ్ ర్యాపిడ్, సో పీపుల్ వేర్ ఫోర్స్ టు వర్క్ ఫర్ లాంగ్ పీరియడ్స్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్, అండ్ పీపుల్ వేర్ మీన్స్ వాళ్ళకి అంత ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఇవ్వలేకపోయింది గవర్నమెంట్. ఫెసిలిటీస్ అంతా ఇవ్వలేకపోయింది గవర్నమెంట్. ఇవ్వలేకపోవటం వల్ల one steel company, which they have started in 3 years. In 3 years they started that company, but in 1 year it was closed for 550 times. Can you imagine? in those 3 years period, it was closed in 550 times. It was closed in the first year alone, because either the missionary would get into a halt, or some worker would be caused an accident, or some reason or the other. And the living quarters, where they used to stay in Russia, the climate, whenever it is winter, Nana, it will be in minus degrees. So when it is in minus degrees, at 40 degrees below, then people used to climb all the 4 floors. అంటే 4 ఫ్లోర్స్లో వాళ్ళ క్వార్టర్స్ ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళు, 4th ఫ్లోర్లో. అక్కడి నుంచి కిందకు వచ్చి దెన్ దే హ్యాడ్ టు గో టు ద టాయిలెట్స్. అంటే ఈవెన్ దే డింట్ హ్యావ్ ద బేసిక్ ఎమ్యూనిటీస్ ఇన్ ద ప్లేసెస్ వేర్ దే వేర్ living. So that was the condition of the workers during that period. But an extended schooling system was developed and arrangements were made for factory workers and peasants to enter universities. So the government also slowly realized their flaws, and they started an extended schooling system where the peasants and even factory workers could go and study in the universities. And crutches were established in factories for children of working women. Women were allowed to work, and to take care of their children when they were at their job, crutches were ఓపెన్. క్రచెస్ అంటే చిన్న బేబీ కేర్ సెంటర్స్ లాంటివమ్మా, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ క్రచ్. ఓకే. అండ్ చీప్ పబ్లిక్ హెల్త్ కేర్ వాజ్ ప్రొవైడెడ్. ఇప్పుడు మనకు ఆరోగ్యశ్రీ ఎలా ఉంది, అలాగే ఆ రోజుల్లోనే దే ప్రొవైడెడ్ పబ్లిక్ హెల్త్ కేర్ టు ద పీపుల్. అండ్ మోడల్ లివింగ్ క్వార్టర్స్ వేర్ సెటప్ ఫర్ వర్కర్స్. స్లోలీ వాళ్ళకి అర్థమైంది దీస్ వేర్ ద ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఆఫ్ ద వర్కర్స్ అని. గవర్నమెంట్ స్టార్టెడ్ టు షో సమ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఇన్ దట్, అండ్ దే స్టార్టెడ్ కన్స్ట్రక్టింగ్ నైస్ క్వార్టర్స్ ఫర్ ద workers. And the effect of all these was uneven, though government's resources was limited, because ఇవన్నీ చేసేవాళ్ళు, కానీ కొన్ని సందర్భాల్లో దే యూస్ టు ఫెయిల్ ఇన్ డూయింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ టైమ్, ఆర్ గివింగ్ ఇట్ ప్రాపర్లీ, ఆర్ లెటింగ్ ఇట్ హ్యాపెన్ సిస్టమాటికల్లీ, బికాస్ ద రిసోర్సెస్ ఫర్ ద గవర్నమెంట్, అంటే ఫండ్స్ ఫర్ ద గవర్నమెంట్. ఇప్పుడు ద గవర్నమెంట్ కీప్స్ ఆన్ స్పెండింగ్ మనీ freely for the public, where will the government get more money? Because here there are no capitalists. Here, there are no capitalists. So, whatever is being earned by the government, and whatever is being distributed, it is distributed by the government. So, earning కూడా government చేస్తుంది, distribution కూడా government చేస్తుంది. So, the government is not having enough funds, enough resources, so as to continue all their welfare activities. But USSR achieved full employment for all its citizens, Nana. USSR achieved full employment for all its citizens and was able to improve standard of living substantially. Means every person in USSR had a job, amma. They had minimum source of income. No one was unemployed. So obviously family lo అందరు వర్క్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, our living standards increase. Even though we don't earn more, but minimum also will give us some minimum living standards. And it also managed to universalize the literacy and primary education. So education was given importance. So obviously employment was given importance. That is the first thing they were successful. Education and primary health was given importance. That also they were able to successful. At this period, the Western world began to face the Great Depression, but USSR escaped from the impact of Great Depression because of two measures, Amma. వరల్డ్ వార్ జరిగిన తర్వాత గ్రేట్ డిప్రెషన్ జరిగిందని చెప్పాను కదా లాస్ట్ టైం మీకు. ఆ గ్రేట్ డిప్రెషన్ అప్పుడు ఏం జరిగింది, సివియర్ పావర్టీ, సివియర్ షార్టేజ్ ఆఫ్ మనీ, సివియర్ షార్టేజ్ ఆఫ్ ప్రొడ్యూస్డ్ గూడ్స్, ఇవన్నీ జరిగినాయి. బట్ యుఎస్ఎస్ఆర్ డిడ్ నాట్ ఫేస్ ఎనీ ఆఫ్ దీస్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్, బికాస్ ఇట్ డిడ్ నాట్ ఇంటర్గ్రేట్ విత్ ద ఇంటర్నేషనల్ మార్కెట్. అంటే వాళ్ళ దేశంలో ఉత్పత్తి అయిన వస్తువులన్నీ వాళ్ళ దేశం వరకే వాడుకున్నారు, కానీ ఇతర దేశాలకి ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ చేయలేదు. ఇతర దేశాల నుంచి ఎటువంటి ప్రోడక్ట్స్ని వాళ్ళు ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకోలేదు. సో బికాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ డెసిషన్ ఆఫ్ USSR government, they did not have the adverse effect of Great Depression. And it had a planned economy in which the state decided what has to be produced, how much this enabled them to maintain what has to be produced and how much it has to be produced. This decision was taken by the government, and because of them, they had a maintained balance between demand and supply. They maintained a balance between demand and supply. However, all this was built up through an enormous centralization of political power in the hands of the Communist Party. The main role played by the Communist Party was centralization of political power. They all had a centralization of political power, and this made them, what you say, be independent. Even though the whole world was suffering, USSR did not suffer, amma. They had sufficient food, they had sufficient production of things, and they had sufficient money, and people were living in a standard and substantial life. They were living a self sufficient life. The experience of USSR inspired the people all over the world, Amma. The experience of USSR inspired the people all over the world and became communist and tried for a communist revolution in their countries. So USSR success chosen tarvata, everyone well felt that this system of ruling is very nice and it would be very good if we also follow this system. It's actually from there that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has copied, what you say, the 5 year plan which we were following till late period. Okay. And many of the Indian leaders like M.N. Roy, Tagore, and Nehru, they were inspired by the system, centralization of power and welfare activities done for the people, employment for everyone, education for everyone. All these things, these have become, what you say, the main uh, points of inspiration for the whole world. But they did not agree with the aspect of suppression of the opposition political parties. Means in Russia there was no opposition, amma. Only ruling party, no opposition. So when there is no opposition, who is there to question? There is no one to question. No? So whatever they do is right. Whatever they show is right. It can be true. It can be false. So many countries liked the policies of communist philosophy, but they did not like the suppression of opposition of the political parties. And many others were also horrified by the violent elimination of opposition and denial of multi-party democracy and freedom in USSR. అంటే ఒక డిక్టేటర్షిప్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఉండేదమ్మా. మీకు అన్నం పెడుతున్నాము, మీకు ఉద్యోగం ఇస్తున్నాము, వీఆర్ గివింగ్ యూ జాబ్స్, వీఆర్ గివింగ్ యూ ఫుడ్, వీఆర్ గివింగ్ యూ ఎడ్యుకేషన్, వీఆర్ గివింగ్ యూ హెల్త్. దట్స్ ఇట్. No one else is supposed to talk anything. So there is no democracy or there is no freedom in USSR. So because of this denial of multi-party democracy and freedom in USSR, many people did not like the policy of Communist Party. So they were even horrified. Now I told you, no, at that time, if a big peasant was not ready to give his land to the share his land along with the small peasants, they were either sent out of the country or they were even killed. They were not allowed to stay there. సో ఒక రకంగా ఏంటంటే వాట్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ సెడ్ ఇస్ ద రూల్. People have nothing to express, people have nothing to say. What the government says, that they have to blindly follow. So that is a type of dictatorship. So there is also a famous satire, Nana, called Animal Farm, which was written by George Orwell. George Orwell has written this Animal Farm to highlight how the ideals of Russian Revolution were compromised in USSR. How the ideals of Russian Revolution were compromised in USSR. Actually, Russian Revolution, why did it come, Amma? Because of the Tsar Nicholas II's autocratic type of government. అది నచ్చకే కదా. కానీ ఇప్పుడు కూడా ఏం జరుగుతుంది? What Stalin said was the rule. What he told, what he decided for the people was good, was good. What he decided that this should not happen, this should not happen. So in this book, The Animal Farm, actually this is a story, Amma, among all the animals in a farm which was led by a peasant, and దాంట్లో pig peru, he used to keep a name of the pig. Wait, I'll tell you what is that name of the pig. The name of the pig was Napoleon. Yes, Napoleon the pig. What he tried is, he tried to bring a revolution against in among the animals. Among the animals, he tried to bring a revolution, telling that our owner is misusing us. He is trying to harass us. He is taking all the benefits from us, and we are being made to stay in such a low standard farm. Okay, and slowly all the animals start to think that what the pig is telling is correct. Okay, but what happens slowly? Later the pig becomes the same. What you say? Same. He starts to behave as the owner, the human owner used to behave. He started dominating the other animals in the farm because it was his revolution that brought some changes in their life. So all the animals in the farm should listen to the pig. So అంటే రష్యన్ రెవల్యూషన్ ని ఎంత కాంప్రమైజ్ చేసేసారు యుఎస్ఎస్ఆర్ లో, లెనిన్, స్టాలిన్ వీళ్ళంతా ఎంత కాంప్రమైజ్ చేసేసారు అన్న దానికి ఒక సెటారికల్ వాట్ యు సే ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అన్నమాట యానిమల్ ఫార్మ్ అన్న లెసన్ స్టోరీ. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇట్ వాజ్ రిటన్ బై మిస్టర్ జార్జ్ ఆర్వెల్. ఓకే నాన్న. సో దిస్ వాజ్ అబౌట్ ద వరల్డ్ బిట్వీన్ వార్స్ 1900-1950 పార్ట్ 2. అంటే వార్ తర్వాత ఫస్ట్ వరల్డ్ వార్ లో జరిగిన కొన్ని కాన్సిక్వెన్సెస్ గురించి మనం చెప్తున్నాం. సో దాంట్లో రష్యన్ రెవల్యూషన్ వాజ్ వన్ పార్ట్. ఓకే, అండ్ వాట్ వాజ్ రష్యన్ రెవల్యూషన్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్. ఇన్ ద నెక్స్ట్ వీడియో ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ టు యూ అబౌట్ ద Great Depression and rise of Nazism in Germany. Okay, so have a nice day, children. Stay safe, stay home, listen to your parents, and follow all these lessons properly, because you belong to 10th class and you will have to write your public examination this academic year. So please don't wait for the teachers to give you the diary work. I want you people to read your lesson all by yourself and prepare your notes and read the materials and revise yourself the portion whatever is being completed or getting completed to explanation. Okay, whatever portion is explained to you, I want you people to revise it all by yourself. Okay Nana, have a nice day, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.